Welcome to the Technobabble podcast. Enjoy!
What's up, Technobabylonians? It's time for yet another extra. Yep, that's right. They're coming out more regularly now. But hey, the cool thing about having a podcast is whenever you've got something to say, you get to say it. So today, I want to talk about something. I want to get personal with you. Very personal, actually. These are actually things I probably wouldn't tell many people. So you might be asking, well, then why are you sharing it with the world? Well, here's the truth. It's been a rough couple of days for me, and sometimes you have things you just need to get off your chest. And it's nice to have people to listen to you and to support you. And also, like I've said many times, one of the reasons I do this podcast is to share my stories and to share the stories of others in hopes that there are some people out there listening that they may be having similar problems or experiences. So hopefully these podcasts can help someone. And if nothing else, it helps me to get these things off my chest and to talk to someone, anyone who will listen. So anyway, a few months ago, both of my parents lost their jobs around the same time. My mom was involved in a court case. She was accused of something she didn't do, but now she's tied up in all of this court bullshit, and it's preventing her from getting a job until all of this shit's cleared up. And even then, it'll probably still be hard for her to get a job. And now, I don't want to go into all the details. In fact, I can't go into all the details, but trust me, this is the kind of shit that nightmares are made of. It's really, it's not fun. Now, my dad finally was able to get a job recently. But my parents still haven't been able to fully get back on their feet yet. So when all of this started happening, I moved back in with them to help support them. So almost every dollar I make goes not only to paying my bills, but to also paying about 90% of my parents' bills. I mean, it's the least I could do, after all. They've supported me my entire life, and I owe it to them. My family is very important to me. Well, things finally started looking like they were getting better, but then my mom finds out yesterday, actually, due to a large miscommunication, her driver's license has been suspended. So she needed $400 to get it renewed because her auto insurance was also about to expire, and she couldn't renew that without her driver's license being unsuspended. Now, we didn't have the $400, right? And since she didn't have any income and Dad hasn't been working at his current job long enough to be able to apply for a loan, I decided that I would take out a small loan to help them out. Now, it's a loan I really couldn't afford to do this. Actually, it's a loan I can't really afford to take out, but it's my family, and I do anything to help them. And so I did. And things are starting to look better, right? You know, things are starting to iron out. Still a little bit of hard times, but things are starting to look better. Well, that's where you're wrong, because today my mom was on her way to the DMV to get her license renewed. And one of her tires blew out on the way, and it caused her to get into a wreck. I mean, fucking A, dude. Can anyone catch a break around here? It's. I don't even. Now, the vehicle had to be towed, right? Because two of the tires were blown out. So now we need to replace. So now we have to pay the towing fees and replace these two tires with money that we don't have. I mean, I just took out a loan. To pay for her driver's license, and then all this shit happens. So I guess the point is, when it rains, it fucking pours. But I truly believe that if you're persistent and you're strong, that the storm it does eventually pass. This too will pass. That's one of my favorite quotes. When my mom called me and told me about the wreck, she was crying, of course, and she told me that her life had flashed before her eyes, and she was more than afraid. I tried to comfort her by telling her that, you go through really shitty things sometimes in life, but you go through those things to appreciate all the good things that life gives you. Now, she was still upset, and in somewhat of an angry tone, she replied, "When you're in an accident and your life flashes before your eyes," and I stopped her right there, and I almost felt insulted myself, and I replied also in somewhat of an angry tone. I said, "Listen to me, Mom. When you've been to Iraq and you've been shot at or driven down roads where trucks get blown up, and when you finally do get to leave that fucking hellhole, you leave knowing that some of your battle buddies, some of your best friends, didn't even get to go home with you, and that's that's really when your life flashes before your eyes. So when that happens, then we can have this talk. And then I realized I wasn't really making her feel any better, and I felt kind of like shit about that. So I just told her, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you. I was just trying to make you feel better, and I wanted you to. I wanted her to know that I understood what she was going through. So, Mom, if you're listening to this, once again, I want to tell you I'm really sorry, and I'm always here for you, and I love you. Anyway, someone earlier today actually told me that if you take everyone's problems in the world and you put them in a big pile and take a look at them, you'll wish you had your problems back. I guess the point there is we all go through tough shit, but it's how you come out of it that makes you a better person. To quote Alfred from Batman Begins, he says, "Why do we fall, sir? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up." And I really believe that's true. I don't think... that's another one of my favorite quotes, and I try to live by it. Now, I'm not asking for pity or sympathy or anything like that. That's not why I'm telling you all of this. Like I said, for me, telling someone and getting this stuff off my chest, it helps me. And like I said, I know other people are experiencing similar situations, probably even much worse situations. But I want you to know you're not alone. We're none of us. We're not alone. Everyone goes through this tough shit, one way or another. But I guess the bottom line is, the thing is, if you do want to support me and help me out, I'm not begging for your support or asking for your support or asking for your money. But the bottom line is, if you do want to help me, you can go to Patreon and make a pledge. We're on Patreon now. And it doesn't have to be much, whatever you can afford. Every dollar counts. And if you do help out, there's actually some cool rewards that you can get. Go check it out. It's patreon.com/Technobabble podcast. Now, I want to let you know, the money that I get through this, that money's not going towards buying new tires or insurance or any shit like that. It's not for personal use. I swear to you. All of this money goes into supporting this show, this podcast, and the future podcast that I want to produce. I've got a lot of cool things in the future that I'm working on, I'm planning on doing. But the thing is, with all of this financial trouble going on right now in my life, and all of this shit that's happening, this big landslide, if you will, of problems, it's becoming very hard for me to support this show on my own. And I really don't want to cancel it. I don't. Doing this podcast, and like I said, the future projects and podcasts that I have planned, that's my passion. It's my dream. I think I finally have found the true art form, the true thing that I want to do that makes me happy. It's my passion. It's my dream, and I don't want to stop doing it. But my family comes first, and they always will. They've always been there for me, and I will do my best to always be there for them. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you like what I'm doing, and if you like this podcast, and if you get something out of it, and if you want to keep it alive, I certainly do. I want you to help me out, help me keep my dreams alive. I mean, I hate asking, but someone's got to, right? Like, someone's got to have the balls to say, give me money, support me, at least in this instance, because I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to afford to be able to produce this show on my own. So I like I said, I hope you guys enjoy the content and the interviews and all the things I produce. And if you do, I beg you, please show your support. Visit us on Patreon. One more time, it's patreon.com/Technobabble podcast, and every little bit does help. Now, I hate to leave this episode on kind of a down note, so let me mention some cool things that we've got coming up. Keep in mind, we did a Technobabble podcast live edition that was a lot of fun with my friends over at Crit Confirm Entertainment. That VOD is available for those of you that missed it. It's available on Bubbernaut_CCE, his Twitch channel, twitch.tv Bubbernaut_CCE. You can find that VOD there. I'll even try to link it into the description of this podcast. And if you missed it or you can't get a chance to watch the VOD, I'll also be releasing the audio in episode 11 of the Technobabble podcast this coming Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. Also, like I said, I've got a lot of cool interviews and chats and a lot of other awesome guests that I'm lining up for the near future. I'm sure you guys are going to love it. If you've liked what you've heard so far, it only gets better from there, trust me. But again, I just hope I'm able to keep this podcast going long enough for you to hear and see all that content. Because like I said, things are getting pretty tight, and I do need help to help keep this thing alive. And as much as it pains me to have to say these kind of things and to tell you this and to ask for help, I feel like that's the only way I know to keep the show alive, and it's something I love doing, and it's something I want to keep doing. So anyway, I guess that's about it. For this Technobabble Extra. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for taking the time out and hearing what I have to say. It always helps. Let me know what you think. Share your comments on Twitter, email me, whatever. But anyway, until next time, just remember, guys, keep doing the things that make you happy. Talk to you later.
This concludes the Technobabble podcast. If you would like to leave feedback, please send us an email to thetechnobabblepodcast@gmail.com, or feel free to reach out to us via Twitter @thetechnobabble. Thanks for listening. See you next time.